Okay, you're going to need a quarter piece of paper. We're going to create a sphere that is going to be shaded with black, but the trick is you don't have black in your palette, so you have to learn how to make your own black. In watercolor, many people say never use black. So Payne's gray is a very common color that will be used instead. It's very, very dark, has a little bit of blue in it. That's if you buy the tubes, but we don't have that, so this is what we have, and we're working with sparkles today, so we're going to see how well this goes. So I just have this container here that I'm going to use to trace to make a circle, so you don't have to spend a whole bunch of time drawing a circle. So find something that's a good size, about that big, maybe a little bit smaller would be fine. Obviously you don't want to go off the page. All right, and now I have a little paper towel just so I can dry my brush. You have your bucket of water. I'm a righty, so I like to place things to the right so I'm not working across my space. Have maybe two of your brushes. I'm going to use the larger of the two. And let's get started. First, we're going to play around with trying to make a color. And you can see I already did a little bit in here. So if you use complementary colors, which are opposites on the color wheel, you can make brown. So if I take red and its opposite, which is green, you can get a brown. We want to go a little bit deeper than that. So I kind of go back and forth till I get a brown. Now if I use primary colors, red, blue, way too much blue, and yellow, which are my primary colors, I'm going to be working on making a black. Now what happened here? I have too much yellow and blue because I made it green, so you have to figure out which color is missing to get that darker. So I add more red. Now it's really brown, so I'm going to add some blue. And we kind of just keep going until we find the right combination. Now it's too much blue. Just going to test it out here. So it's not really going to be a true black, but I've made it gray, so that's awesome. That's pretty much what I'm going to want to do. So obviously the more water you have, the lighter the gray it's going to be. The more pigment you have, the darker, more bold the color is going to be. So still looks a little bit green. And you are not going to be able to make this a perfect black. All right, so let's see. Test this out again on my paper towel, see what that color looks like. And I've got a gray. All right, so wash my brush. And we're going to do wet into wet. So paint your circle with just water. Depending upon the watercolor sets that you have, you might get a different result. So I'm working with these sparkles, and I don't think the colors are as potent as they would be if they were just regular colors. Let's look at, now this is a sphere, so you want it to be shaded. So as this is like some sort of a ball. So if you imagine the light source is coming in, it's hitting here. So this is the lightest area, and around it gets darker, 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 until you get to the bottom over here, because if the light is coming this way, this is where your shadow is going to be on the darkest area. All right, let's try it. Ooh, I can see those sparkles. So this is going to be my darkest. And then I'm going to add a little more water because I want it to get lighter. Water, 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 as you can continue to adjust. All right, so it's still definitely way too light over here. So I'm gonna add a little more. Let's get that a little darker. And notice how I'm working in a circular direction because it's a ball. If I make my lines in straight, if I make these in straight lines, it's going to make this ball look completely flat. All right, I'm gonna add a little bit more to this side. I'm still really light here, which is good. So I'm gonna leave this area in this here with nothing in it. Start working around and getting darker. Okay, so I'm definitely ready for some more pigment here. Added a bunch of blue, more yellow. I've made a green. So I've used the 3 primaries. You're welcome to go in and use the secondaries. So let's just see what happens. Let's try adding a little purple. On the end, I have a silver and a gold. I don't think those are going to be useful to us. Okay, I'm going to test this out. Look at that, made a darker gray. Love it. Okay, so now, because now this is losing a lot of its value. Value is shading, light. It's another word for shading. It means light and dark. This is a very blue color. If you would like to try the shadow would come right underneath the sphere and kind of go, so right at the bottom and horizontally, or a tiny bit of curve here. And then right underneath is the darkest. All right, there we go. I think that's it. It bled out just a little bit. I think that's because of the paper we're working on, but that's okay. All right, your turn to give it a try. Make your own black, or BYOB, bring your own black, and see what you can do.